So when it comes to the business of toys, hobbies, and do-it-yourself baby segment business in Nigeria, information according to statistics reveals that revenue from such industries expected to rise to about 851.41 million US dollars in 2023 alone, and of course annual growth rate of 8.89% within the period of 2023 to 2027, which of course spells hope and prospect for entrepreneurs and business investors. Today on SME Hub, we will be talking to one of these professionals, especially she is an expert in this field. She is by name Mrs. Omotola Lawson. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get to talk about the business of selling toys, especially kiddies toys. Talk to us about it.
So yes, we've been in this business space for a couple of years, well over a decade, and the toy business has been very interesting compared to how things were when we started, which was over a decade ago. The awareness for toys, for play-related things was very low because most people always assumed that toys are a luxury. But over time, with the growth of Montessori education, with children in preschool and primary, the growth has been different because now people identify toys as not just a plaything, but actually tools that help children to learn soft skills that they need to know to make a difference as they grow up.
Okay, so to you, it wasn't more about the profitability of the business. It was more about something that was like a deficiency, especially when it comes to learning aids for kids. Like you talked about using toys as something that children need to use when learning, especially for Montessori. Is that correct?
For any business to thrive, or if you want to start any business, you start from the need that you identify in the society.
Of course.
Because if you are bringing what you call a solution when there is no need, it's practically a waste of time, no matter how good it is. So it was that need that we had personally in my family, that okay, we need to get these things, and we're looking for it everywhere. But we found toys, but the kind of quality of toys we were looking for were not readily available. So of course, because we understood the value that toys would add to a growing child, it made us go all out that okay, if we are looking for this and can't get it, that means that there are many other families that will be looking for the same thing, and that led to starting the business.
So you're more like a solution provider when it comes to those kind of
toys. Most
toys.
Definitely. If solution means that you need something and these people are always there to make it available to you, oh yes, we are a solution provider.
So as a therapist, what was it like starting this business? To most businesses, finance is usually an issue which cuts across most of the SMEs that you have today. Does that speak to you?
Well, I like the way you said to most businesses, because yes, for every business, I think it's just to, when you want to start off, nobody starts big. Even when you do start big, you still have to face reality.
So what are those realities?
So one thing that you want to think about if you're starting any kind of business is you can't start off buying so many pieces. You don't know what will do well. You don't know what people will like. You don't know whether, okay, this item is trending in this country. Is it going to trend in Nigeria? You don't know. So, of course, starting, you can start at whatever level, because some people can start and just get one piece each of so many items. Some people can start and say, I want to be an importer. Okay, you're an importer, fine. Are you going to import 100 pieces of one item and then that's all you have? So in terms of size, in terms of financing, it won't be my first recommendation to say that a startup in this business should go into bank loans and stuff, mainly because of the interest rate charges, because this business is really exposed to the direct impact of the foreign exchange in the society.
Could it be because of these things are sourced overseas?
Oh yes, because because most toys are imported. So whichever country,
personally?
Yes, the kind of quality of toys that we want are imported. And okay, you haven't asked this, but let me just move a little off track. When we were thinking of scaling at some point, we're like, okay, what's the next level? what would we like to do? And we actually thought of the option of manufacturing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we looked at, okay, what's the best thing to do? Where are we going to locate the warehouse? Where are we going to locate the factory? And then we saw that, no, Nigeria is not ready for that. Because one, in the toy space, there is a very wide variety. If the economies of scale, doing it in Nigeria won't make sense for this level. So most businesses do a lot of importation to the tiniest of toys.
Now, that speaks to the fact that if you're looking at a business of this nature, for instance, a B2C or a B2B, as the case may be, what are you going to be looking at when it comes to large productions? Because there are some people who might not be able to go outside the shores of this country, just as you do, to get these things to resell. What are those challenges that could limit you from putting up a factory for local production?
Well, if you understand the needs of the markets and the users, the actual users, remembering that the parents are not the users, the children are the users. So even no matter how much a parent says, I want to buy, maybe you have one Adana, or give me a Nigerian name of a doll. This is what I want to buy for you. If the child watches Barbie on TV, the child will say, Mommy, I want a Barbie doll.
And, of course,
and because Mommy doesn't want to waste...
They spend more on toys too for
most definitely. Because Mommy doesn't want to waste her money on what the child will not play with.
Yeah.
It's not just the voice of what the parent wants, but also with some level of influence for what the children are tuning towards. So in terms of producing here, it's not impossible, but because there's such a large variety of toys, how many of each one do you want to make to be able to say that, okay, you have a lot to spread the cost of production over? Remember that we still have the general things that we are dealing with. Electricity.
Forex.
Well, if we're producing in here, we probably won't be dealing with Forex. But electricity, even just the cost
the
of
materials for producing here, those things.
Yes, will make it much more expensive than the ones we import. And on the long run, if you have two items on the shelf, made in Nigeria, much more expensive, imported this price, what would you buy?
Of course, you tilt towards
so it's I see Nigeria evolving into a space whereby we are ready for that, but I don't think the market is ripe for that yet. And one thing I can say that Nigerians identify with is that we identify with excellence. So excellence with what we buy for our kids, excellence with wanting to go the extra mile with bringing out the best in our children. And many parents also understand and relate with the fact that, okay, yes, we do a lot in terms of schooling, paying school fees, but they also understand that the school doesn't teach everything. It's while the children are playing, expressing themselves, discovering things that for themselves, that they are also learning and growing. So with that realization, you know, it's gradually going to grow the toy market space more than it is now. And then maybe a couple of years, probably decades down the line, Nigeria could be ready for manufacturing. But as of now...
So when it comes to your brand, Delightful Toy Shop, what is the value addition or value offering, you know, that it brings to the table, especially to customers who walk in here and of course to investors?
Wow, okay. If you want to talk about it from the angle of value, there are different perspectives to look at it from, and I'd like to look at it even from the angle of nation building. Why? In the understanding that children are the leaders of tomorrow. There are so many things that we all say about our leaders of today, about the way Nigeria is, but the truth is that it's the individuals that make a country. There are skills that if we are deliberate about it, toys can teach the children. So if you want to have a generation of people that have empathy, people that care about the needs of others, people that are very innovative, creative, people that look for help when they don't know how to do it, it starts now. So from the angle of nation building and the value that comes from our brand, it's from that perspective that children can begin to learn skills beyond what makes them being called intelligent in school. They can begin to learn skills that makes them the perfect leaders for our country in the years ahead.
Okay, now talk to us about the profitability of this business, because of course you said looking at the cost, you know, of getting these things overseas, and of course the clearing costs and what have you, electricity and all, it's nothing to write home about. But would you say in honesty, in all sincerity, that it's not, you know, good to go by?
Well, I'd say that I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that question, because for every business there's always an angle to it. I know quite a number of people that they don't run physical shops, so that they avoid the overheads that go with having a physical shop, so that they can sell and still make a profit, you know. I know a lot of people too that have changed their model in such a way that, okay, they don't want to have so many staff, so they just have minimal level of operational cost, so that it helps them to still be profitable. So but I think what I'm saying doesn't even only apply to the toy industry, really, it's generally. So if one wants to, your question was that how profitable is it? Is it wow, is it all that? Any business, whether it is toys or pure water, whatever it is, you always want to compare your cost to your selling price. So you might not make it doesn't even make sense to try to make a huge profit on one transaction. It's only if you are in the business for the long run, you're not focused on that. So what you make now, it's more of, okay, the little by little by little that adds up. So is it profitable? Of course it's a profitable business. Every business will be profitable if you always compare costs to what you're selling at.